In the United States, authorities are expected to announce the death of a police officer in Fox Lake, Illinois, back in September was suicide. Police launched a massive manhunt after Lieutenant Joe Glinowitz was found shot to death in a wooded area. He'd radioed just a short time earlier, saying he was chasing 3 suspects. A law enforcement official says reports by the FBI and the medical examiner's office all point to suicide.
An Illinois police officer's death is expected to be ruled a suicide tomorrow. His shooting death in September, it sparked a massive manhunt.
Sure did. The Lake County Sheriff's Office has scheduled a press conference for tomorrow morning at 8 our time. But tonight there are several reports that the office will announce Charles Glinowitz died of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. The officer radioed that he was chasing 3 men. Responding police found his body. The manhunt involving hundreds of officers didn't turn up any arrests or suspects.
He don't deserve to be in no handcuffs.
All right, so you guys remember when this guy, I guess, killed himself, right? There was this like big deal about how they had all this physical evidence. I think they said that that the guy had his gun taken from him, and you know that there was evidence of a scuffle and all this stuff, right? And then there was like, for weeks, I think there was like 3 weeks that they made a big deal about this on TV. And the state was in pretty much lockdown, martial law, over this guy who killed himself, right? You know, and then they had this big, huge funeral where cops came from all over the country. You know, they spent millions of dollars looking for this guy. They said that they had arrested at least a couple of people in connection with this. Man, they spent millions and millions of dollars. There's no doubt, in just a matter of a couple weeks, looking for this for whatever. I don't know what the fuck they're looking for. They just, again, this is just another practice of locking down martial law. This is what's going on. Is it, what was the other one? Pennsylvania. Remember when they locked down Pennsylvania? They locked down Boston. It's this practice of, you know, and then they call cops in from all over. They said, in this news interview, they said hundreds of cops were used to search for evidence. Millions of dollars. Hundreds of cops cost millions of dollars. And they come in from all over the country, and what they're doing is they're practicing a lockdown, a martial law scenario, so that they can go back and teach the people, their cops in their neighborhoods. You cops, this is your neighborhood. These are your neighbors. These are people you're supposed to be there to protect their constitutional rights. The individual, each and every individual, constitutional rights. That's why you're there. That's what your job is. Anyways, remember they said that they had caught like a week later, they said that in somebody's security camera in the backyard had caught like video of important video in connection with this case. Lies, lies, lies. This is what cops do. They lie, they lie. They are professional liars. It's almost a guarantee. I think it's probably out of their control. You know, it's a pathological thing. I don't think, you know, when you lie long enough, it's really hard to stop. I'm pretty sure. But you know what I kept thinking when this was going on, when they were having this huge search for these 3 guys who beat up and killed this cop, I kept thinking, you know, if it was my mom that got beat up, my little old mom, who's like a good person, if it was her that got beat up, they wouldn't spend millions of dollars and call in hundreds of cops to try and find the people that did it to her. And that doesn't seem like equal in any way, or fair, or right. And you know what else happened during that time? They did this whole, oh, there's a war on cops thing, and they kept using this guy as an example, and how there's a war on police officers. Police officers started the war. Okay? You brought the war to our neighborhoods. You brought the war to our children's schools. You drew first blood. Okay? I'm not justifying anything at all. Just saying, if there's a war, which this guy, I'm not even saying this guy was a bad cop. I'm saying he's a piece of shit cop like I do about so many other cops who killed fucking 12-year-olds. And then say it's justified. Who kills some kid that flashed his headlights at you and then say it's fucking justified. How disgusting can you be to want to stand next to some cop who killed some kid, some teenager, for flashing his headlights at him? And you want to stand next to that cop and say he's a good cop? Fuck you. You know, again, they wouldn't do it for my mom. Millions of dollars, hundreds of cops. They wouldn't do it for my mom. Which doesn't seem right in any way. But I digress. I kept talking about war on cops, and a whole time this guy whacked himself. The war is on you. The war is on your neighborhood. These cops are supposed to be protecting your constitutional rights, and instead they're using your neighborhood to practice martial law, to train for martial law. That's what this whole cop suicide thing was about. So we're clear. That's what I'm saying. All right. Thanks for tuning in. You know, this cop, he might have been a good cop. It might have been that he couldn't take it anymore. You know? That he knew that tomorrow he was going to have to go out and he was going to have to destroy some family for no good reason except for some stupid war on drugs. He's going to have to destroy some kid's future because he had a little tiny bit of marijuana or planted a seed or whatever. Okay? Maybe that's who he was. Maybe he was a good cop. And you know, it's going to come down to that if you guys don't kick out the bad cops. If you guys don't start fucking throwing the bad cops to the wolves. Put them in prison. If you don't start doing that, then a whole bunch more of you good cops are going to whack yourselves. And hopefully you'll make videotapes that you put on YouTube telling all the dirty deeds that you know, every single cop dirty deed. Everything that's wrong with policing. And then explain that you can't take it anymore and you're sorry and you wish you could. You know? That would be a good, honorable death. So, you know, in Japanese culture, I think. I've been watching too many kung fu movies. Never mind. Never mind. One of these days, this war is going to end. It's up to you and me. Stay cool till that day.
He don't deserve to be in no handcuffs. He ain't in here with no knife. He ain't in here with no gun.
Look at this video. The Michigan mother is demanding some answers tonight. She found her 7-year-old son handcuffed at school. Crystal McCadden was called to her son's after-school care program last month. The school resource officer said he handcuffed the child to protect others and himself from injury. McCadden says her son has ADHD but is not violent.